All right, everyone. We have a hilarious article, link in the description, archived, of course. The legacy media is really trying to run cover for the Democratic Party right now. They are in total rout. It's like watching a couple of colonial armies meeting each other on the battlefield. One of them gains the high ground, so to speak. Puts the other one to pieces. Their front line is completely debilitated. And the other army just, runs. They just scatter. The organization is gone. The captain is no longer capable of commanding the men. The general is literally fleeing on his horse. Their cannons are abandoned and they're just all messed up. Because that's basically the Democratic Party right now. They're in complete rout. And they have been for the last month. They don't know what to do. It's like imagine that an army, again, in the colonial period, one of them is just a bunch of militia and the other one has like 200 or 300 scatter shot cannons or something like that. Who do you think is going to win this engagement? The Republicans normally are the party of scattering and running. Normally, they get very nervous. They're like, one sniper picks off one of their men and everyone just goes running. That's basically the Republican Party. This time, though, it's the Democrats that are doing exactly the same thing. They've chickened out. They're in complete disarray. I've never seen a more disorganized reaction to a political movement, actually, in my entire lifetime than the one that I'm seeing now. Nonetheless, ta-da, again, link in the description, the legacy media is desperately trying to throw cover for the Democrats. Well, they're not really in disarray. They're not really disorganized in their response. Bullshit. The only thing that they can do right now is lawfare. The only thing that they can do is resort to the courts because in the legislative sense, they have no power. In the executive sense, they have no power. In the organizational sense, somehow it's even worse than the other two. They literally cannot respond to what Donald Trump and his associates are doing because they're throwing so much ammo out there. It's like imagine, I've used the metaphor before. If I fire an arrow at someone, I might miss. But if 1,000 people fire arrows at one person, some of them are going to hit. It doesn't even matter if they goddamn aim at that point. It's simply thousands and thousands of arrows. That's basically what Donald Trump and the people around him are doing. And so the Democrats have resorted to lawfare more than anything else. They're resorting to the judiciary. They're in complete rout. This is a Cope article more than anything else. And I've seen several others from the legacy media. No, the Democrats aren't really disorganized. Oh, bullshit. Have you seen their messaging? It's all over the place. The Democratic Party is split three ways. Now, the Republicans have a schism too. We'll get to that in a moment. But the Democrats are more schism. You have the far left, like the Occupy people, and the Justice Dems. And they've taken over certain congressional districts by primarying out neo-libs in favor of people that are more hard left. They do not get along with the neoliberals, at least not most of the time. Then you've got a handful of union Dems. These are Democrats mainly from places that are generally red, but they've been tolerated simply because of their ideology. You've got Joe Manchin or something like that, Fetterman. You've got the same thing on the other side, of course. You've got like your Phil Scotts. He's the governor of Vermont, my home state. He's a Republican, being the governor of a very, very blue state. That's because, generally speaking, he gets along with the Democrats, agrees with them 90% of the time. The only thing he doesn't agree with them on is on budgetary issues. I will give him begrudging credit, Phil. You have done generally a good job of balancing the budget, so, you're not a complete failure. So that puts you in the top 50% of politicians at this point. You get those dynamics. The Republican Party has a bit of a schism between the Freedom Caucus, libertarian types, MAGA, and the neocons. But the neocons are dying off anyway, so that doesn't matter as much. In the Democratic Party, you have a three-way schism, and it's very much contemporary. because those young schismatic leftoids are generally under 50. The Democratic Party is really going to have to grapple with this. They're incapable of doing so. They are effectively in rout. Again, this is like one army driving another army off the battlefield and chasing after them with bayonets and just gunning them down. That's basically the political situation in the United States currently. Now, my hope is that the Democrats manage to rise from the ashes, because they've lost this fucking engagement. My hope is that they rise from the ashes like a phoenix and that they create a better party. But do I have any real hope of this happening in the immediate future? No, I do not. I do not believe that the Democrats fundamentally um, are going to get their shit together before the midterms. At this point, I think it's a lost cause until the next major election, until 2028. Maybe they get a candidate who's sort of like a JFK style candidate, somebody who's capable of uniting various liberal factions and not being a total moralist piece of shit. It's possible. But I think that they've already lost the midterms, honestly. I don't think that they can do it. I just don't think that they can get their shit together that quickly, because they appear to be making absolutely no effort to do so. They're relying on the legacy media and the judiciary system to try to cock block Donald Trump, and I know what they're doing. What they're doing is trying to slow down everything that Trump is doing, because most of his ideas are fairly popular. They're trying to slow it down and prevent it from happening, or at least delay it until after the midterms so that they can be competitive. Because they have no leader and they have no ideas of their own that are capable of competing. That's the only thing that they can do. Hell, half of their party leadership, they're so old and geriatric and messed up, like Nancy Pelosi and others. Fetterman, one of the more sane members of the party, literally has brain damage. Some of these people might very well die before the midterms. So they're trying to delay the inevitable in order to compensate. It remains to be seen whether they'll be successful, by the way, in this endeavor. Trump, meanwhile, is just plowing ahead, throwing everything at the wall. Again, it's like if I throw a dart at the dartboard, there's no guarantee that I bullseye him. But if I take a whole handful of darts and start tossing them rapid fire, one of them is probably going to hit the center of the target. It's basically what Trump and Doge and similar associated groups are trying to do. And it seems to be working. They've got these people's minds scrambled. I mean, again, read the link in the description. The legacy media is being trotted out once again to do the wagon circling thing. They don't do this if the opposition, because they hate Trump, all of them hate Trump, including Fox News, by the way, and he knows this, but he has articulated on multiple occasions. They're not going to be trotted out, especially not this close after an election, during the honeymoon period, unless they are afraid. They are goddamn terrified of Donald Trump and his associates because they're being effective. And they're actually trying to do what they said they wanted to do. That's not the normal way politics works. Normally, you promise the moon on a stick, you give the person a stick. You give some breadcrumbs from the feast table, the poor and to the needy and to the homeless veterans and so forth, and then call it a day. And I gave you a 2% increase in your Social Security or something like that. That's normally what happens. So with Donald Trump, because he's actually trying to follow through, he becomes public enemy number one, and anyone associated with him. That's why he's running the interference campaign, by the way. This article is fundamentally a lie. The Democrats are badly disorganized. They are not forming a coherent defense. The only thing that they can do is utilize the goddamn courts. They're using the courts in the judiciary sense, and they're attempting to utilize the court of public opinion. The latter case, they're having a little bit of a problem. There's a reason for that. That's about all. Peace out.